Suck my balls, Cal. No! No, he has to suck my balls!
You like to suck my balls, don't deny it.
Oh, suck my balls, you ginger Jew rat hall monitor! Punk-ass stoolie, who the f*** do you think you are? Suck my balls, K-10. That's right, suck my Canadian balls! Suck my balls! No, you suck my balls! Thanks, everybody. Suck my balls! Yeah, whatever, you can suck our balls. Suck my balls, 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 suck my balls.
How would you children like to suck on my chocolate salty balls?
Oh, you mean like a chocolate candy?
No, I mean my balls.
Yes. Yes!
Ladies and gentlemen, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Suck My Balls. Suck My Balls.
Suck my balls, suck my balls.
Suck My Balls, a South Park review. I, of course, am your host in the heat, and it can't be beat. I'm your guy who's high because the air is dry. Your boy, M to the S to the G. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Matthew_Shaffer. Each and every week, myself and my friends, my bros, my best friends, like to break down South Park for you. And that's what we're going to do today. But in this rare instance, I actually am alone. My good, close best friends are not here to review this episode, Best Friends Forever. It is the 4th episode of Season 9 and the 129th overall episode of South Park. It is also, of course, the 132nd episode of Suck My Balls. And this episode of South Park originally aired on March 30th, 2005. Now, of course, shout out to my co-host, Scoop, and Dr. Dirty J for Nola. Fortunately, could not be here today. The synopsis of this episode is that Kenny is one of his own, or I guess he is the only one of his friends, you should say, to get the newest, coolest portable gaming device, that being the PSP. And there's one person, of course, in particular cannot deal with it, and that's Cartman. Cartman wants a PSP as well. So that's how this episode actually begins, is Cartman gets up in the morning, and he's like, come on, Mom, we got to get to the store. I want to be one of the first kids to get there so that way I can get myself a PSP. However, when they get down there, they find out that there's already been a line building, and for days. Kenny's been out there almost a whole week, and he's number one, and nobody, of course, will let Cartman cut. So Cartman is not going to get a PSP. So we're going to open up with that clip here in the episode with Cartman interacting with his mother a little bit there, as well as him not getting a PSP.
Mom, get up, we have to go. Mom, get up.
Oh, Poopykins, it's very early.
Mom, I told you, the new Sony PSP game machine goes on sale at 7 a.m. today. I have to be the first to get one. Come on!
Sweetie, can't we go after school?
Everyone's moms are taking their kids after school. We're outsmarting everyone by getting to the store right when it opens. Let's go!
So unfortunately, I mean, that's a great thought on Cartman's part. And recently, I even went through this. I scouted over the course of about a month last year. Oh, okay, that's too much of an extension to say a month. I'm exaggerating. About a week or two. I basically called and went to different Targets around my area when I was living in Denver, so that way I could get the brand new Nintendo OLED. I wanted to find out which Target was going to get it, when they were going to have it out, how many they were going to get, etc. Now, I was never able to, before the day of concrete, find out how many they were going to get, but I was able to find the location that I felt like would be the best opportunity for me to get one. And I arrived there that morning at 5 a.m., and there was already 2 people in front of me. So I was like, fuck. Fortunately, only one of them was there to get Pokemon cards. The other was there was to get the Switch, too. So I was like, yes, they got to at least have 2 no matter what. Fortunately, they had 4. But I get Cartman's philosophy here. Let's get down there early. However, Cartman didn't do enough research in anticipating that when he gets down there, there's going to be a whole line of people waiting to get the same PSP as well. So let's jump to that here when he arrives and finds this out.
What the hell? Kenny, when did you get here? Friday?
Friday.
Oh, Jesus! sort of game.
Hey, dickhole. What do you think you're doing?
My friend Kenny was saving my place in land.
There's no saving places, Forthy. Get to the back or we'll beat your face in.
Oh, God damn it!
So as a result, everyone's in that line, or not everyone, but most people in that line are going to get one. And of course, Kenny is going to get a PSP as well. And that is going to infuriate Cartman.
It's a game called Heaven vs. Hell. Kenny commands the armies of heaven against the forces of Satan. Dude, you see what Kenny got? Yes, I know. Up yours, Kyle. Well, what'd I do? Just shut your do mouth.
Congratulations, you have reached level 9.
Wow, level 9 already? Dude, you kick ass at Heaven vs. Hell. Yeah, Kenny finally found something he's really good at.
All right, then there's going to go to a montage here now, of whether it be Kenny in class or Kenny after school or his parents fighting or whatever it is. He's going to continue to level up in this game of Heaven versus Hell.
You have reached level 60.
So he gets to level 60, and then he gets hit by a ice cream truck.
Oh, yeah, level 4. Sweet.
The ice cream truck player obviously was playing his PSP as well. Of course, this is a satirization at the time as far as the marketing push. When Sony put out their PSP, everybody wanted to get a PSP was the big thing, right? I had a PSP. My friend, he's been on the podcast as well. When in Rome, he just recently picked up a PS Vita just so he could stream the game directly from his PlayStation 4 to his Vita so he could play it on the go. So I can see why the hype was so big. Now, of course, Sony put out a lot of commercials when this PSP came out because they were trying to go toe-to-toe with Game Boy, Nintendo, the DS. So I can definitely see why people were hyped about this. I mean, it was basically you had like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 graphics in the palm of your hand. It was awesome. And then they came out with Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories, man. Oh. You could play Madden on the go. Like good graphics, Madden. They even had like wrestling ports. I think I had like a SmackDown versus Raw 2000 whatever, 2006 probably is what it was for the PSP. Had like John Cena and Batista on the cover, I want to say. Red versus blue. Did you have a PSP? I had a PSP. It was pretty cool. Well, moving on here in the episode now, as you heard, Kenny died. And there's a reason why Kenny died. There's a whole reason itself to this whole, I guess you'd say, PSP in regards to why they've launched it. And South Park creators are going to give you their take on what happened. So here's what happens after Kenny dies. He rises to heaven. Didn't go to hell, so good for him. Not like the movie. Went back to heaven. That's good. Well, that's good.
Open the gate!
Open the gate!
Open the gate!
Open the gate! That's a Monty Python reference. Monty Python reference.
Welcome to the kingdom of heaven, Kenny. I am Peter.
I am Peter. What the F is going on, he says.
There isn't much time, Kenny. You are dead, but
We're dead.
your death was no accident. Heaven needs you. Come, there's much to discuss.
So he's going to end up explaining to him that there is a huge war right now breaking out between heaven and hell. And the whole reason why the PlayStation Portable was created was to find their Keanu Reeves. And they believe because Kenny was able to get to level 60, he is there. Keanu Reeves. Let's listen to the different angels argue about the fact that they're bringing a child in on this war.
The Dark Lord knows that our armies are few in number and unorganized. So our only hope is perfect strategy.
A child?
Pointing at
This is
Kenny.
not solution.
He beat Satan's army in over 3,000 separate simulations.
Archangel Michael, what say you?
The child did something none of us could. Reach level 60 on the PSP. Now, I don't know if that's luck or perseverance, but it's goddamned impressive.
It's actually pretty funny to think from a logical sense, right? In this episode, that God, as we've been established, he is I guess like a half cat, rat, whatever it is, raccoon, or lizard because he's got a lizard tongue, or no, he has a snake tongue, so he's like a snake, rat, cat, or something like that. And a mouse tail. I don't know. That being said, I'm not gonna like dwell on the fact of what the God cartoon character looks like in South Park in the South Park world. But that being said, they said that God created this heaven versus hell game, and there's all these different simulations. And the whole reason why they have these simulations is, of course, to see who would be the best. And Kenny, apparently, being able to reach level 60 is that man. He is the guy. Now, there's a funny part here in this episode that I want to point out here. And unfortunately, Joe and Scoop are not here, but they know if they're listening to it later what part I'm talking about. Now, when they're going over the strategy here on the marker board, I think he said it was Gabriel. What say you, Gabriel? Gabriel is drawing on the marker board, and he draws an outline of, the Satan's troops and their base. But Matt Stone and Trey Parker, they outline a message here in the marker board. Let me go ahead and play it for you, the listener, and then I'm going to tell you what the marker board actually says.
Here and here. Just under 10,000 strong.
As he's sniffing markers.
We are outnumbered and in need of someone who can single-handedly bring the whole Dark Empire down.
And so later on, if you look at what he actually draws on the marker board, it actually says, "You suck balls," which we thought was funny. Or at least I thought it was hysterical. But you have to actually look at what he's drawing and as he outlines it. That being said, we then we show Satan now, which we have not seen in a while here since I guess it would be the episodes with him and Chris and Saddam, and he broke up with them, and then he sent Saddam to heaven. So we haven't seen Satan since then. So now here's Satan in hell with his, I guess you might say, the Dark Emperor from Star Wars is his master.
Know no fear. You will drink the blood of angels. We go now. Nothing can stop us.
Move aside! Step aside, I say!
Oh, there's a narc.
Satan! God has mocked thee once again!
My spy.
God has found a way to defeat your army.
Impossible. How?
A young man. Basically, he's like Keanu Reeves.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
My lord, we must attack now.
What's the point? They have a Keanu Reeves now.
Do not fear, my lord. Your army is great.
Very well. Demon army.
We're going to find out that he's
Kingdom
dating
march on heaven.
the Emperor, actually. And I'll pause that. I was going to say, we're going to find out later he's actually dating the Emperor. That's why they have that relationship. So the Gabriel's going to give Kenny a golden PSP. That's how he's going to command the armies. Here's that introduction.
You shall command the armies of heaven.
How, he says. How am I supposed to do it?
Simple. You will use this.
Yes. Golden PSP.
This golden PSP is king
Only
of all
it's for
PSPs.
real.
Hail the holy PSP! It works just like the ones we sent to Earth. All the commands you make will be sent to the troops down on the battlefield. All you have to do is play the game, Kenny. Only this time, it's for real.
It's for reals.
Gabriel returns with news. Hell's army is departing. They head now for the gates of heaven. Prepare the troops. We must be ready for them. The time is at hand, Kenny. The stage is set and the final battle between heaven and hell is about to begin. Fate of the outcome is in your hands.
Oh, Kenny didn't die.
Where do you go?
That's right.
Doctor, we have a pulse.
And that's it. We've brought him back.
Amazing, Doctor. You've revived somebody who's been legally dead for almost a day.
That's horrible. That's horrible. But yes, that's what happens here is Kenny is revived. He's brought back from the dead. And this is where the episode turns into the quote title, right? The best friends forever. As after they brought him back, Stan and Kyle, along with Kenny's parents and other protesters, including Skeeter and Mr. Garrison, get arrested for trying to bring food and water to Kenny. And you might be asking, why is that the case? Well, because Cartman claims that his status as Kenny's best friend forever to the Colorado Supreme Court with the first half of his BFF medallion gets an order to take out the feeding tube, and he removes the tube after tracking down and finding Kenny's other BFF medallion, implied to have been planted there, of course, by Cartman. It was around Kenny's neck. As I mentioned, then Stan and Kenny, along with other people, are trying to bring in some food But basically, it becomes a battle of taking him off life support or keeping him on life support. Now, the reason why I say this is messed up here is when they explain it to Kenny's mother here, they're like, yeah, but Kenny's dead. And he's like, oh, yes, but he's still alive. We can keep him alive here on this tube.
It's the latest in electroplastilical science. Your son's organs are all functioning again.
It's a miracle. Kenny, you're alive.
I'm afraid he can't respond to you. You see, being dead for that long, most of Kenny's brain cells died from lack of oxygen. Your son is alive, but in what we call a persistive vegetative state.
Will he ever recover?
I'm afraid no. Brain cells cannot be repaired once dead. But his soul is still in here. Almost trapped in here, if you will. Kenny is the same as he ever was. It's just that now he's more like a tomato.
He can't move on his own. How will he eat?
A feeding tube. It pumps a nutrient paste directly into Kenny's stomach. With it, we can actually keep Kenny the tomato alive for years.
See, that's horrible. And that's basically exploitation there of medicine, right? It's a small town. We have to assume that by keeping Kenny on life support, the hospital is going to make more money. Regardless if the McCormicks, that being the more on the poor side, poverty-stricken side of economy, they might not even be able to afford health care, but they could probably get some sort of Medicare or something from the state. So either way, hospital's getting paid out. So by keeping Kenny on life support, they make more money. Of course, you have Cartman, as I mentioned, who planted that BFF medallion to try and get the tube off, because we're going to find out here, Cartman was left something in the will. And now we're going to go to that will reading between Kyle, Stan, and Cartman.
Boys, I want to thank you for coming down to my office on such short notice.
Are we in trouble or something?
No, boys, I'm a lawyer. Your friend Kenny passed away, and I've called you here to read his will.
Kenny had a will?
In the highly likely event of my death, I, Kenny McCormick, wish to leave all my belongings to my good friends Stan and Kyle. Dudes, you were the best friends a guy could have.
Oh, wow. That's really touching.
Fags.
To Eric Cartman. Eric, I never really liked you, but then nobody does. You have no ability to feel, and you are going to die alone and miserable. It is only because I feel so sorry for you that I leave you my Sony PSP.
Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah, baby! Who the man? Who the man?
There is one more thing I would like to ask you all as my friends. If I should ever be in a vegetative state and kept alive on life support, please.
Please what?
I don't know. I lost the last page.
Who cares? Kenny's dead! When do I take possession of my PSP, sir?
It's right here, along with Kenny's other belongings. They're all yours.
Yes.
He's alive!
What?
He's like licking
Kenny
his
McCormick,
lips.
He's alive at the hospital.
Oh my god!
So as you heard there, Cartman is not obviously happy because if Kenny is alive, he doesn't get the PSP. So the boys and Cartman then go back to the hospital. They identify the fact that Kenny's actually in a vegetative state. Cartman goes to Supreme Court.
See, Your Honors, I was the only one that Kenny McCormick told his wishes to. And Kenny told me specifically that he would never want to be kept alive on machines. What they're doing to him is not right.
Well, I'm sorry, young man, but the parents want their child kept alive. I don't believe you have any legal authority here.
I do have legal authority, Your Honor. You see, I was Kenny's BFF.
Best friends forever?
That's right.
That's right.
Kenny and I have been BFF since first grade. Here, look.
Here, look.
Kenny has the other half of this BFF necklace. I believe you all know what that means.
And how serious it is. And after a long, intensive media coverage between I guess there's like a mass media war, right? Trying to put the feeding tube back in and keep Kenny alive, while Cartman enlists supporters of the rights of the best friends forever to leave Kenny's feeding tube removed. And like, we have to respect the people with the best friends forever medallion, if otherwise it's meaningless. So after a long, intensive media campaign on live television, the two sides are arguing back and forth, and this is all going to climax in the hospital where we find out what happened or what's said on the other side of that piece of paper that the lawyer unfortunately lost. But before we get there, I do want to show you a little bit of what's going on, as I mentioned, with some of the supporters here, and that being the best friends and the media war that ensued, saving Kenny.
2 boys are bringing national attention to the story by protesting outside the hospital.
Don't kill Kenny!
You bastards!
Don't kill Kenny!
You bastards!
No, they're not killing him. They're letting him die.
That's the
You
Angels.
bureaucrats have no right to play God and take that tube out.
No, see, they were playing God when they put the feeding tube in.
A woman was arrested for trying to bring food to the
Mrs.
patient.
Garrison.
Get your man hands off of me! However, a growing number of people are also standing behind Kenny's BFF, Eric Cartman.
We must respect the wishes of people's BFFs. Otherwise, all our BFF necklaces would become meaningless.
We all have BFFs, and we believe a BFF is the highest legal authority.
That's right. Respect our authority.
Respect so Satan, now finding out that Kenny's actually alive, goes ahead and marches on heaven. But before doing that, we find out that he also influences the Republicans. He's like, we'll have to do this like we always do it, with the Republicans.
Perhaps the child won't die in time.
Forget it. I'm calling the attack off.
No. Keep your army marching, my lord. I will get that feeding tube put back in.
How?
I will do what we always do. Use the Republicans.
So now he's going to use George Bush.
We Republicans are deeply saddened by the tragic events in Colorado.
Removing the feeding tube is murder.
Removing the feeding tube is murder.
Who are we to decide that Kenny should live or die?
Who are we to decide that Kenny should live or die?
It is God's will that he live.
It is God's will that he live. Ha, ka, 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 ka.
No, you don't say that part.
No, you don't say that part. Ha, ka, 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 ka.
Obviously indicating that he's being fed. So as you hear from the music here, I'll play a little bit. Satan is now marching on heaven. So now they've started the battle. An epic battle is ensuing. And it all culminates before the battle in this hospital room, as now both sides are arguing to leave the tube in or take it out, and the lawyer is going to show up and give us the results of what Kenny's will actually said if he was on a vegetative life support.
Media attention.
We want all the country to see that Kenny is alive and in pain.
I believe the people at home can see he's not in pain because he's a tomato.
You say tomato, but I say Kenny.
You say Kenny, but I say tomato.
Tomato! Kenny! Tomato!
Excuse me. I just found the last page of Kenny's will.
What?
I found the page where Kenny specified his wishes about being on life support.
Well, what does it say?
If I should ever be in a vegetative state and kept alive on life support, please, for the love of God, don't ever show me in that condition on national television.
Ooh. And then the doctor or the anchor comes back on the news and announces that Kenny McCormick has died. And now Kenny arrives in heaven to finally take control and be the Keanu Reeves that heaven needs.
Satan's army charges. Tell our troops what to do, Kenny.
So he picks up the
So it
PSP.
begins.
The best part about
Now
this whole
we shall
episode.
see the final battle between heaven and hell.
I want to lower this here. The best part about this whole episode here is the fact that Kenny is playing this and South Park does not do any animation.
Yes, good, Kenny. The angel spearmen are taking out their
It's just
demon
Gabriel
foemen.
talking.
Oh, the cavalry angels are clashing with
Like
their
pointing.
black knights. Oh my God! This battle is epic. Oh,
It's like
they're bringing
bigger
in
than
the
Lord of the
demon
Rings.
dragons. Look at the size of them. My God, this is even bigger than the final battle in the Lord of the Rings movie. It's like 10 times bigger than that
They
battle.
don't show it to you at all. So Kenny wins.
No! How are we losing?
The child's soul is in heaven. God has his secret weapon.
Full retreat!
Patience, my lord.
No, Kevin! That's
Kevin.
it! I'm breaking up with you!
Breaks up with Kevin. But where's Kevin going to go? Detroit?
Yes,
I don't know.
yes, Kenny. Satan's forces are retreating. This is truly a sight to behold.
The best is at the
Oh, I
end, they
wish I-
just like go to it and like they look at the battlefield and there's like only like 8 people out there. Like it wasn't even a big battle. So anyway, for completing that task, Kenny is going to get a great gift from God.
Well, we give you this. Keanu Reeves statue.
Congratulations. That always never made sense to me, though. It's like, why would you just give him a Keanu Reeves statue? I get it that he's the Keanu Reeves. It was just funny that that's what Kenny ends up getting as his gift is a golden Keanu Reeves statue. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break for our sponsor, and we'll be right back on the other side. Subscribe to Suck My Balls, a South Park review on Spotify, Apple's, iTunes, anywhere you want to download a podcast. Just type that in, subscribe to our feed. You'll get the latest, greatest episode each and every week. You can also listen to us on YouTube and go back and watch some videos or any of our library. It's all there. Suck My Balls, South Park review. Hey guys, we just want to take this quick time out here just to recognize our sponsor. What's that? Well, who's our sponsor?
Baked Boys Club.
Baked Boys Club. TheBakedBoysClub.com.
The Baked Boys Club.
That's right, the Baked Boys Club. You can use our code SuckMyBallsPod and you'll save how much, Joe?
20 motherfucking percent.
20.
You heard it right.
20%.
20%.
That's right, 20%.
20.
That's 1/5 off your order just by typing in Suck My Balls Pod at thebakedboysclub.com. What does the Baked Boys Club have? Well, they've got hats, they've got shirts, they've got stickers, tons of different apparel. They've got mystery boxes, and if you use that code, according to Scoop, it brings it down to $49.95. So use Suck My Balls Pod code at thebakedboysclub.com. Baked Boys, not just a brand,
A lifestyle.
it's a lifestyle. That's right.
It's a lifestyle. I may have been too big to do that.
And I'm back. Once again, shout out to our sponsor, thebakedboysclub.com. Use our code SuckMyBallsPod and you'll save 20% off your order. The Baked Boys, not just a brand, it's a lifestyle. Let's talk about some trivia. This is one of the few times where Kenny's death is actually marked as kind of being important. Other times included in Kenny dies, as well as Cartman's mom is still a dirty slut, Cartman Land, and then, of course, the movie, South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. Just as I mentioned, God does not make an appearance in this episode, even though he's referenced. Now, according to the audio commentary of this episode was actually a late change from the idea of the episode, The Losing Edge, after the food tube was pulled from Terry Chavio, a well-covered news story at the time. Further, her death prevented the team from being able to make a second part, which had been planned. And as commented by Matt Stone, the joke of having an unseen battle caused a big debate amongst the writing team as to whether it would be funny or not. It was decided that the joke should just go ahead, saving any complicated animation from being needed. George Bush appears in this episode, as I mentioned. Other appearances include Cartoon Wars Part 1, The Snook, and Mystery of the Urinal Deuce. Satan temporarily goes back to being evil in this episode as he invades heaven with his army. Starting with this episode, Satan was given an updated look, though. Karen, Kenny's sister, resembles Heidi in this episode in regards to her character animation. Just after Kenny dies after getting hit by a truck, the scene where he flies up through space into heaven is similar to, of course, when he died in the movie. Among the people in line for this PlayStation Portable, aka the PSP, are the Goth Kids, Heidi Turner, Craig Tucker, Kevin Stoley, Annie Falk, Bill Allen, and there are, of course, some 6th graders who said, "We'll beat your face in if you don't get to the back of the line." This is one of the few times that Kenny dies more than once. Other times, of course, included Pink Eye, Summer Sucks, Coon vs. Coon and Friends, and, of course, the movie. Technically, even though, because he goes to hell, then they come back out of hell at the end of the movie. He comes to, so, I mean, I guess was he dead or was he a soul? I don't know. References to some pop culture. The subplot of Kenny being in a vegetable state, the fighting of opposing parties over the rights to die, and his ultimate death are reference to the real-world circumstances surrounding the vegetative state of Terry Chavio. And this episode aired hours before her death. Now, I'm going to go ahead and right-click this link, and let's talk about Terry Chavio. Here's the Terry Chavio case, if you don't know. The Terry Chavio case was a series of court and legislative actions in the United States from 1998 to 2005 regarding the care of Teresa Marie Chavio, or Schneider? I don't know. Annie Schneider? I don't know. Born December 3rd, 1963, passed away March 31st, 2005. A woman in an irreversible, persistent vegetative state. Her husband and legal guardian argued that Chavio would not have wanted prolonged artificial life support without the prospect of recovery, and in 1998 elected to remove her feeding tube. However, her parents disputed her husband's assertions and challenged Chavio's medical diagnosis, arguing in favor of continuing artificial nutrition and hydration. This highly publicized and prolonged series of legal challenges presented by her parents ultimately involved state and federal politicians up to the level of President George Bush, which caused a 7-year delay before finally the tube was ultimately removed. Wow, that's crazy. So apparently, though, she went into cardiac arrest. Is how she initially got into that vegetative state at the age of 26. And while she was successfully resuscitated because of the massive brain damage and due to oxygen to her brain, she was left in a comatose. That's really what happened. Interesting to know. I mean, in 2005, I don't know if I would have been following the news that closely to remember that. So that's interesting. Now, of course, as we mentioned, there's a Lord of the Rings reference in this at the end. There's multiple Lord of the Rings references throughout this whole episode, which includes the orb used by Satan, which is a reference to the palantir held by Saruman. Apologize, I didn't watch the Lord of the Rings stuff. Satan's minions are heavily reminiscent of the orcs and the Ukrahai from the films. The gates of heaven mimic Minas Tirith. The Council of Angels is a reference to the Council of Elrond. The opening shot of the Army of Hell is very similar to those of the Army of Isengard in their preparations to attack Helm's Deep. During his description of the battle, Archangel Michael, that's what it was, Archangel Michael comments that the battle is 10 times bigger than the one in the Lord of the Rings movie, referring to the massive CGI battle in the film trilogy. Satan's advisor Kevin is obvious reference to, I guess that's I thought it was more Sidious, but it says Satan's advisor Kevin is obvious reference to Thidion's advisor Grima Wormtongue. He also resembles other stereotypical evil hooded characters such as Sidious Palpatine. That's who I thought it was from the Star Wars series. General Clytus from the 1980 film Flash Gordon, the Devil in Mel Gibson's directed film The Passion of the Christ, and Desaad, Darkseid's advisor. As I mentioned, there's a couple references to Monty Python and the Holy Grail. The first is when, of course, Kenny arrives at the gates of heaven and they yell out, "Open the gate." This is also, of course, said by King Arthur in the film. Moreover, Heaven's army celebrates winning the war by cheering in a manner not unlike the similar moment of much rejoicing in the film's animation segments of Terry Gilliam. The reference to Keanu Reeves throughout the episodes are based on Reeves' regular appearances as, quote, savior characters, upon whom the triumph of good over evil depends, of course, in films like The Matrix, Constantine, and at the time, The Devil's Advocate. The greatest similarity to Keanu Reeves, though, is in Little Buddha, when Keanu Reeves plays the role of Lord Buddha and alone beats all the entire evil army of Mara, the Buddhist Lord of Evil. This is the second and final time Kenny is killed in this season. This was also, of course, the first, of course, was in this episode, and then that aired right before this, and that was Wing. So he only dies in Wing and Best Friends this season. While the catchphrase, "Oh my God, they killed Kenny, you bastards," is not uttered in this episode, we did get the chant, right? Where Kyle is leading the protesters by saying, "Don't kill Kenny," with the crowd responding, "You bastards." Heaven recruiting its ultimate hero through a video game is a reference to the film The Last Starfighter, wherein a young man is chosen to defend an alien race based on his skills in an arcade game that the aliens place on Earth to test humans. Moses' role as Mission Control is similar to Zordon in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Now, just to give you some background on The Last Starfighter, it's a movie that came out in 1984. It's considered a American space opera, I want to say. It's directed by Nick Castle. Tells the film of a guy named Alex, a teenager recruited by Alien Defense Force fight an interstellar war. It also came out along with Disney's Tron. It had the distinction of being one of cinema's earliest films to use the extensive real-life computer-generated imagery, aka CGI, to depict its many starships, environments, and battle scenes. So anyway, fun little fact there about that game here. Last couple things here, some continuity. This is Satan's first appearance, as I mentioned, since the episode probably with Chris, although he was mentioned, though, in A Ladder to Heaven. And, of course, Kenny's death. In this, he dies, as we mentioned, he dies twice in this episode. First, after being struck down by a car, and then the second time when the feeding tube is taken out of Kenny. So that is some of your trivia, your continuity, your pop culture, and your full recap right here for Suck My Balls, as I mentioned, episode number 132. I'm your host, Nahit, and I can't be beat. I'm your guy who's high where the air is dry, your boy, Matt Schaffer. And what did I think of this episode before we go? Best friends forever. First off, if you listen to last week's episode, I made a mistake. I said we were doing Losing Edge this week. I got the episode 4 and episode 5 mixed up. So I totally forgot that I was going to review Best Friends Forever. It is a funny episode. I remember the hype around the PSP. I found the PSP itself was, like I mentioned, it was some of this breaking technology, right? Let's pull up a quick commercial, PSP commercial. Oh, it's BJ Bales, the annoying PSP commercial guy, if you guys remember that guy.
PSP, huh? Yeah. Sweet! That thing morphs. That's more. Oh, it will morph. It's morphing. That morphed. It morphed. That's it. Square, square. Dude, you gonna shoot that thing? Shoot that thing. Force field. Get the force field. Get up in there and shoot that. Drop a cluster bomb. Cluster bomb. Smash the complete. No. Cluster bombs. Cluster bomb.
Dude, get your own.
Anyway, PlayStation Portable. It was big. They promoted it. If you were there. So I always do like going back and revisiting that. The Keanu Reeves jokes, I think, are pretty funny. You can be our Keanu Reeves. But, in total, I'd probably say this is more maybe on my lower end of the top one. It's hard because, as you continue to review these episodes, eventually things would get pushed out of the top 100. I don't know if I'd put this one in my top 100. I might put it in my top 150, maybe top 200. It's a good episode. I do enjoy the content of it. Like I said, it's a funny episode, but it's not one of my top favorites. So, great episode. Good way to follow up after Wing. I certainly did think it was a better episode than Wing. And then, of course, next week we will actually get the Losing Edge, where we will get to hear, the thing I've had it on my board for a while.
I thought this was America. Huh? Isn't this America? I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
The drop I've had on my board for a while. So we actually will get that episode next week. And I will be joined by my co-hosts as well. Maybe one, maybe two. Who knows? I'm your host in the heat and I can't be beat. I'm your guy who's high where the air is dry. Your boy, Matthew Schaffer. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Matthew_Schaffer. Each and every week, you can check us out by visiting www.linktr.ee/SouthParkPod. You can also find us on social media. Suck My Balls Pod on the Twitter and on the Instagram. And you can find us on Facebook at South Park Pod. As well as you can also go check out our boy Joe, Dirty Joe Vernola. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at either at JV Vernola or at JAV or JA Vernola. Check out Primo's Pro Wrestling. He's one of the pro wrestling writers and promoters of that brand. As well as if you follow him on Twitter and Facebook, or Joe Vernola, hit him up. Tell him you listen to the podcast. And if you're in the Colorado region, maybe you can take in a wrestling show by the Joester. You can also check out Act Fresh Studio, where I post a litany of other content, including the Michael Vick 2K2 20-year career. We're just finishing up almost now our first season, and then we're going to start jumping into 2K3. Check that out. Act Fresh Studio on all outlets. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Act Fresh Studio. Check that out. You guys, we'll be back next week with another edition of Suck My Balls. It's always a treat. Thanks for stopping by. Talk to you again.
Suck my balls. 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 Suck my balls.